Good morning, afternoon, everyone. Great to see so many investors here again at the Noosa Conference. I said to Phil yesterday that this conference just seems to get bigger and bigger every year, so it's great to see so many investors here. Sayona, we are North America's newest lithium producer, and not only the newest, we're also the only major producer of lithium from hard rock sources in North America. And I think importantly, this fact was acknowledged by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau just 2 days ago in identifying Sayona's investment in Canada and our key leadership position, and we are an important partner as Canada seeks to become a global supplier of critical minerals for the EV revolution that's underway. So NAL is in production. It started in March of this year. It's ramping up to a nameplate capacity of 226,000 tonnes of concentrate per annum, which is about 620 tonnes of concentrate a day. We're running at about 400 to 450 tonnes a day at the moment. So we've lifted from 150 a day back in March to about that 400 level now. We've got to go from 400 to 600 by October. So NAL is going very, very well. We're still ironing out some kinks, but the plant is on track. And importantly, we have produced enough concentrate for our first commercial shipment, which the boat is about to undertake loading procedures. So very exciting for NAL in that it's very near term to first revenue and first cash flow. Not only are we the leading producer of lithium from hard rock sources in North America, we also have the largest hard rock resource base. Sayona has 120 million tonnes of hard rock resources in North America, and that is expected to get bigger as we close in on 2024. At a corporate snapshot, Sayona is an ASX listed lithium producer. We're in the ASX 200 index, a market capitalisation of around $2 billion. We have a cash balance at the end of March of around 100 million. That's not taking into account the institutional placement for 200 million that we did at the end of May, so that figure will be a little bit higher at the end of June. We have no debt on the balance sheet, and that's really to support our accelerating our growth projects as we move forward for both our lithium hubs in Quebec. Board and management team, led by Brett Lynch, supported with Paul Crawford, James Brown and Alan Buckler. Significant operational expertise on the board. The board was involved with the early days of Orocobre, which is now part of Allchem. Also the development of the Pilgangoora asset under Altura Mining, and also formerly with New Hope Coal. And I think it shows the importance of transitioning to this clean energy future when you have a bunch of Ipswich coal miners who are now driving the critical minerals development in North America. So that just shows the importance of producing green critical minerals for the EV revolution. If we zoom in on our lithium hubs, we have 2 hubs in Quebec in the east of Canada. We start with NAL in the south, which is the Abitibi hub. So that's backed up by a 75 million tonne resource base. That's in production since March of this year, under ramp, targeting an annual production of 226,000 tonnes of concentrate per annum. And I think importantly, the end state for NAL is a downstream future. There's a partially constructed lithium carbonate plant on site today. We recently released a study into completing the construction of that partially constructed carbonate plant. And for an investment of $550 million, we could have that plant in commissioning by the end of 2026. So fast pathway to going downstream to lock in more margins for the joint venture shareholders. If we swing north to Moblan, Moblan sits in the James Bay region, highly prospective for lithium deposits in that region, around a number of large deposits. Moblan's currently a 51 million tonne resource base at a higher grade of 1.31%. And I think importantly, Moblan's a very flexible deposit. The official JORC resource was 70 million tonnes at 1.2%, but because the grades range up to about 1.8 or 2%, it shows that we could pursue a high-grade mining operation or a bulk tonnage mining operation. So we have a very high-grade, low strip ratio, very flexible deposit at Moblan. So we're very, very excited about the opportunity with Moblan. Importantly, we're targeting 100,000 tonnes of lithium hydroxide production from the North Hub, which is cornerstone by Moblan, by 2030. Aiming for first concentrate in production from Moblan by mid-2027. So fast-tracking our North Hub as well. An update on production. So we started production at NAL in March. Ramp-up's going very well. The blue bars are our budget. We're in line with that. First shipment is about to start loading. We have 30,000 tonnes of concentrate by the end of June sitting at the port. That boat is on its way and about to start loading. And I think importantly, NAL is seeking to sell 120,000 tonnes of spodumene concentrate between now and the end of this year. So, importantly, getting those lithia units into the market and bringing cash flow into the NAL operation. Back in April, we put out a DFS for the NAL operation as a producer and seller of spodumene concentrate. And I think this really underlines the operating parameters of the operation. It's currently a 20-year mine life. We've got drilling underway to grow that, targeting that 226,000 tonnes of concentrate run rate, recoveries above 70%. And I think importantly, the cash costs on a US dollar basis are below the price points for all customers for NAL. So $690 a tonne if you include Ortier. If we take Ortier out of that number, NAL's cash costs in the DFS was $470 US a tonne. So importantly, NAL, if we hit these numbers, we'll make profit on sales to all customers, and we're looking to get our tonnages up to that nameplate level and hold them there. NPV of NAL, just as a producer and seller of concentrate for 20 years, is about $1 billion on a US basis. If we then look to NAL's destiny as a fully integrated operation producing lithium chemicals, the NPV would be more than double. So we released a study at the end of June for completing the partially constructed lithium carbonate plant on site. That carbonate plant alone has an NPV of $1.5 billion at an IRR of 50%. So significant economic opportunity there for the JV to take the infrastructure we have in place today, it's mostly permitted, and accelerate that towards commissioning potentially by the end of 2026. That plant would have a 16-year life. Again, that would potentially increase if we can grow the resource base at NAL this year, producing 23,000 tonnes of carbonate per annum, generating life of plant revenue of around $9 billion US. So significant value opportunity there for NAL and Quebec to become the only fully integrated lithium chemical operation on site in North America by the end of 2026. As I mentioned, we have a drill program underway at NAL this year. We have 50,000 metres underway. There's 5 rigs on site as we speak. We started off drilling in the pit to really move some of our tonnages from the inferred category back to the indicated. The CPs are very confident that lithium's there. So that should grow the resource base. We've also got drilling to the north, west and southeast of the pit to grow the resource base. And then the yellow bits to the east are the earn-in claims that we acquired from Jordan Resources last year. And that's really around connecting the NAL pit with the known lithium intercepts that Jordan has been hitting to the east of the property. So very quickly, I think we could see NAL emerge as becoming a very large pit with resources that feed into the NAL concentrator that's in production. If we look at the timelines for NAL, obviously we're in production. We hit that on time, on budget in March. That ramp-up's underway. We'll generate shipments starting very shortly. And then the next major milestone for the NAL site is looking to go downstream potentially as early as 2026. So NAL for us, was really about fast start, low cost, quick way to cash flow. And it'll just chug away in the background generating cash. But for us, the big opportunity is Moblan. Moblan has the potential to be 3 or 4 times bigger in terms of production capacity than NAL. The deposit is high grade, low strip ratio, very flat lying, very attractive deposit. And location is really critical for these deposits. Moblan is 2 kilometres off the main road. There's power nearby. There's transport. There's road, rail infrastructure. And there's a town of Chibougamau about 100 k's away of 7,000 people. So we have all of the necessary ingredients to get Moblan into an open cut mining operation very, very quickly by 2027. The resource is currently 51 million tonnes resource at 1.31%. The mineralisation extends for 1 kilometre north to south and 2 kilometres east to west, and that's growing. The pegmatites are hosted in 4 main associations. 3 of the associations are together and 1 over on the eastern boundary. And I think, you know, the main point that I like to draw out here is you can see how relatively flat-lying the deposit is. It's thick, it's high grade, you know, 30 to 40 metres of thickness, very shallow, follows the topography of the area, and high grades, you know, 1.4 to 1.8% grades. So, you know, we're very excited about Moblan, and I think the opportunity for us is we haven't tested below 200 metres at depth. So there's potential for that flat-lying stacked pegmatites to be stacked at depth. So that's certainly, you know, a big opportunity for us moving forward. We also have a DFS underway for Moblan, which is due in November of this year, and with a resource upgrade targeted for next year. So getting the DFS done this year is really around fast-tracking to production by 2027. If the resource base grows in excess of the capacity in the DFS, then we'll look to update that in the future years. Further drilling, so we've got results in for about 30% of the drill program this year, the 60,000 metre drill program. That's currently on hold because of the wildfires in northern Quebec. We're hoping to get back in there once we get government approval to re-enter the area. We're focusing really on that southeastern flank of the deposit with those dark dots, and the opportunity for us is for the deposit to head east, to connect up the Moleon deposit on the eastern boundary. That distance is about 400 metres, and I think if we can identify stacked pegmatite lenses outside the current pit shell, then that gives us a great opportunity to grow the existing resource base of 50 million tonnes closer to 100 million tonnes, potentially as early as next year. We have assays pending on about 15,000 metres, and we still have to complete another 30,000 metres by the end of this year. So significant opportunity, I think, for us to continue to grow Moblan into a very sizable deposit at high grade, and obviously you've seen it's flat-lying and very thick. On a regional basis, Moblan, where all the drilling activity is taking place, is the little blue dot in the centre of the screen there. And as I mentioned, the Moleon deposit, which is part of the current resource base, is on the eastern boundary. There is the potential that the Moblan trend continues over the boundary into the red claims, which are our wholly owned claims we acquired from Troilus Corporation last year. So we haven't done any exploration on the Troilus claims as yet. And I think, you know, as we get the results in from the current drill program, that'll give us, our geologists, comfort as to whether there could be a potential mass-scale pegmatite discovery on the Troilus claims to the east. Timelines for Moblan. So we delivered the resource upgrade in April this year. We've got the 60,000 metre drill program underway, PFS in November. DFS in November. Looking forward to the resource upgrade early next year, and then targeting that first concentrate production by June of 2027, and then our 100,000 tonnes of hydroxide by 2030 is the timeline for Moblan. So I think from an investor perspective, we've delivered a number of key milestones already in 2023. We had the restart of NAL on time, on budget in March. We delivered the DFS in April, the Moblan resource upgrade in April. We put out the preliminary technical study, which showed the potential to more than double the MPV of NAL in a downstream scenario. We did that in June. We recently released the the drilling results from the first batch of results from Moblan, but we've still got a lot of news to come this year. We look forward to the first shipment of concentrate, which is imminent. We have the drilling program that's underway at NAL. We have the definitive technical study for carbonate, which will be sometime next year. We have the DFS for Moblan in November, further drill results from both Moblan and NAL, and also the resource upgrade for Moblan next year. So as you can see, we've already delivered a number of milestones in 2023. That is set to continue with a number of those to be delivered this year, and we look forward to watching the Sayona story grow. Thanks very much.